The first time, the machine charged me for something I didn't buy. It was a toothbrush I didn't need. I was at the late-night self-checkout in our neighborhood supermarket, under that tired fluorescent glare that makes oranges look sallow and people look worse. It was almost midnight, the time when the speakers switched from pop to some kind of royalty-free jazz loop. I had bread, instant soup, cheap coffee, and cat litter. That was it. I scanned each item slowly, bags crinkling, scale complaining when I put things down too fast. Then the screen blinked, stuttered, and added a line. Oral-B toothbrush, $1. I don't even own a toothbrush from that brand. I always grab whatever's on sale in a sad cardboard bin. I checked my cart. No toothbrush. I checked the bagging area. Nothing. Just the same 4 items, looking guilty for no reason. The kid at the attendant podium glanced over. "Everything okay over there?" "Yeah," I lied. I hit remove item. The machine asked me to wait for assistance. The kid came over, typed something, frowned at the empty scale, and voided the toothbrush with a shrug. "Glitch," he said. "Happens." I wanted it to be just that. A blip, a hiccup, a digital burp. I went home, fed the cat, and threw the receipt in the trash without looking at it again. I should have read it. I know that now. The second time it wasn't a product. It was a sentence.
3 days later, I was back, around the same time. Because my life is a closed loop, and I shop on autopilot. This time, I only needed milk and cereal. The store was almost empty. 1 bored cashier at the far end, 2 of the 4 self-checkouts open, the others blinking out of order like they were trying to sleep. I scanned the cereal. Beep. Milk. Beep. The screen listed them neatly. Price, subtotal, tax. Then, at the bottom, where it usually shows the total, a new line appeared in smaller font. You forgot the call. It wasn't in the list of items. It was tucked under them, just above the Pay Now button. No price, no barcode, just that sentence. My thumb hovered over the screen. Behind me, someone's cartwheel squeaked rhythmically. I felt exposed, like the ceiling camera was watching only me. I mashed finish and pay. The machine spat the receipt at me like it was glad to be done. I grabbed it, stuffed it into my pocket, and walked out fast, not even waiting for the automatic doors to fully open before I pushed through. In the car, I remembered. My sister had asked me that morning if I could call our mother before bed. "She sounds off," she'd said. "You know how she gets when the weather changes. Just talk to her, okay?" I hadn't. Work had been hectic, and then there'd been dishes, and the cat had knocked over a plant, and I'd decided I could always call tomorrow. I crumpled the receipt in my fist so hard it squeaked. I called my mom right there in the parking lot, the milk sweating in the bag beside me. She answered on the 3rd ring, sounding small but normal. She said, "I knew you'd remember," like she'd been certain all along. I told myself I was being superstitious, that the machine couldn't possibly know anything about my day. But when I got home and smoothed the receipt out on the counter, the sentence was gone. The total was in its place. Same date, same time, same items. No mention of any call. After that, I started keeping the receipts.
I told myself it was for budgeting. That's the kind of lie you can tell yourself if you say it in an organized voice. I put them in an old shoebox in the hall closet, labeled them by week with sticky notes. I started going to the supermarket more often than I needed to. If I realized I was low on anything, even vaguely low, I'd make an excuse to go. Most of them were normal. Pasta, onions, dish soap, total. Some had small errors, items that flashed for a second on the screen and then vanished before the final tally. A jar of pickles that never existed. A cake I definitely hadn't scanned. Once, unsettlingly, a pregnancy test. I don't own a pregnancy test. I haven't been in a position to need one in a long time. The turning point was the night the receipt listed an argument I hadn't had yet. It was a Friday. The store was busier than usual. Everyone grabbing last-minute things for the weekend. I was at my usual self-checkout, third one from the left. By then I'd started to notice it was always that one, like it and I were in some kind of shitty relationship. I scanned frozen pizza, wine, a tub of something pretending to be ice cream. The total looked about right. And there, right above it, "You never listened to me, 0.00. I'm trying, 0.00. Underneath, in italics, as if whispered, "Kitchen table, 0037. Those are not things you want your grocery receipt to say. I stared at it so long the machine beeped at me to remove my items. The woman at the next register gave me side-eye over her mountain of snacks. I went home, put everything away with robotic precision, and sat at the kitchen table with the crumpled receipt in front of me. My phone lay beside it, screen dark. I had no one to fight with. No partner, no roommate, just me and the cat, who yelled at me about food but never accused me of not listening. I told myself it was nonsense, that I'd misread, that I'd been more tired than I thought. I almost threw the receipt away. Instead, I slid it into the shoebox with the others. That night, at 0037, someone sat down at my kitchen table. I didn't hear the door. I didn't hear footsteps. One moment I was scrolling through nothing on my phone. The next, I felt the air change, as if the room had shifted around another body. "You never listen to me," a voice said. It was my voice. Not exactly. Higher, thinner, threaded with an anger I keep behind glass. But the cadence was mine, the little hitch on the last word. I looked up and saw myself, sitting across from me, elbows on the table, hands clasped so tightly the knuckles shone. "I'm trying," I said reflexively before my brain caught up. My own voice, my own words, answering on cue. The other me smiled without humor. "You always say that, and then you come here and pretend you don't know what you're buying." I could see the edge of paper peeking from her fist. A receipt. The store logo, my name on the loyalty card line. I reached for it. My hand passed through hers like cold steam. She didn't flinch. "You keep thinking they're warnings or glitches, or chances to fix something small. Call your mother, don't burn your pizza, that kind of thing. Her eyes were very, very tired. You never ask why it needs you to keep coming back. Why what needs me? I asked, although I already knew. Her gaze flicked to the cupboard where I kept the shoebox. Then I was gone. No door, no sound, just the faint scent of supermarket air freshener hanging in the kitchen like ghost perfume.
The clock on the stove read 0037. I didn't sleep. I sat there until the refrigerator cycled off and back on. Finally, when the sky outside began to lighten, I took the shoebox out of the closet and dumped the receipts onto the floor. There were more than there should have been. They'd multiplied. I'm sure of it. I don't spend that much. The receipts covered the floor in a thin layer, overlapping, dates and times blinking up at me like 1,000 tiny eyes. They weren't all mine. Some had different names in the loyalty card line. Some had no name at all, just blank space. In among the milk and apples and detergent were lines that looked like stage directions for real life. Do not take the shortcut home. 0.00. Check the back door. 0.00. Leave the stove on. 0.00. Ignore the cough. 0.00. And scattered between them, like the chorus of a terrible song, self-checkout 3, 2358, self-checkout 3, 2359, self-checkout 3, 00.01. As I watched, one of the receipts near my knee shivered. The ink bled and rearranged itself, letters sliding from one word into another until a new sentence formed. It said, "Stop reading now. .00." I didn't. I picked up the ones closest to me, flipping them over, looking for the pattern. Some described things that had already happened to me, conversations, missed chances, nights I'd spent staring at the ceiling. Others detailed things I'd avoided because of a line on a screen, that call to my mother, a jog I'd skipped, a bus I'd let leave without me. At the bottom of the pile, thicker paper, a longer receipt, heavy in my hand. No logo, just a list of, I don't know what else to call them, versions of me. Argument at 24, void. Engagement at 27, void. Accident at 31, void. Trialed at 33, void. Promotion at 35, void. At the end, where the total should be, one last line. Remaining balance, one ending. There was no age next to it, no date, no clue, just that phrase, like the universe's worst loyalty program.
I sat there, surrounded by the rustle of paper, as the receipts slowly, constantly shifted. Some faded, others darkened. Now and then, I'd catch my own name where it shouldn't be, printed on something I'd never bought, at a time I don't remember being in the store. I haven't gone back to the supermarket in 3 days. I eat crackers and whatever I can find in the back of the cupboard. I drink tap water and try not to think about milk. It doesn't seem to matter. Tonight, when I opened my wallet to get my bus card, there was a fresh receipt folded around it. Same narrow paper, same smell. No date, no time, no items. Just a single line. You will come back when it's ready. I didn't put it there. The shoebox in the closet is full again. I can hear the soft, relentless whisper of sliding paper through the door like breathing. I haven't opened it since this morning. I'm afraid I'll find one particular receipt sitting neatly on top, already printed, the ink still damp. The one with the exact time and aisle number where my remaining balance finally comes due. I'm trying very hard not to go check. The problem is, I know myself. I always keep my receipts.